A last-minute late-night political firing, not in Washington, D.C., but in Riviera Beach. A regular budget meeting turned into a critique of the city manager and ended with a 3-2 vote to fire him. The question is why? News Channel 5's Wanda Moore spent her day searching for answers. She is live at Riviera Beach City Hall for us this evening. Wanda.
Jay, people saw us around town and they came up to us to ask us why the city manager was fired last night. Jonathan Evans had only been on the job for 6 months with no controversies to speak of. There is so much controversy and confusion going on today here that even the mayor's asking why. It was a shocking decision on Wednesday night. Councilmember Terrence Davis spearheaded a vote that led to the firing of city manager Jonathan Evans. Davis said it was due to poor job performance, but would not go into detail, leaving even the other council members in the dark.
This just reeks to me, and I don't understand how you can make such an allegation, not make this body aware.
Without any details as to why Evans should be fired, the motion passed 3-2, supported by Councilwoman Lynn Hubbard and Don Pardo. A day after, the mayor is still in shock.
I know it was wrong. It's embarrassing. It's hurtful to this city, and I feel the city is in a state of turmoil.
Davis told us he had gotten information from people in the community that fueled his decision.
This situation is really been well overdue.
But once again, he wouldn't say what that information was.
I give you an answer already in this story. I told you why.
No, you didn't really. Evans was cleaning up his office today. He said all of this came out of the blue for him.
It was shocking to me because I would have expected if there was a issue with respect to performance that would have been communicated to me in advance.
Michael and Kelly, it was certainly a very, very heated debate and meeting here tonight. People, they wanted answers. They didn't get them tonight, but at least they were able to voice their frustration with those city council members.
You ought to be ashamed of yourselves.
Whose only flaw is their commitment as a city manager to help make this city great.
Person after person asked council members to reinstate Evans or face the consequences from the voters.
But I promise you I'm going to work my tail off to be done with you all. Thank you.
Please tell us why you voted as you did.
But they didn't get an answer.
A lawsuit was filed today, and our city attorney told us not to comment on the city manager.
Everybody knew that how I felt about some of the things that he was doing towards some of the programs that I was putting forth.
News Channel 5 uncovered that Evans had asked for an internal investigation into Hubbard. Did you use public money for paving a private driveway? A source told me that there was going to be a meeting here tonight at the Hearst Chapel behind me at 6 o'clock. And sure enough, we showed up, and right around 6 o'clock, we saw about a dozen cars pull up. Now, we saw numerous people get inside that church, including Councilman Terrence Davis and Police Chief Clarence Williams. Now, after the meeting, I walked up to the police chief and I asked him what that meeting was about. Listen to what he had to say.
I don't know anything about the contents of a meeting. So, and why would you walk up to the police chief and ask him a question that I just arrived? So,
oh, you just arrived?
Yeah,
because we saw you get in earlier, so I was just wondering.
Yeah, I've come and gone, and you couldn't have seen me.
Okay, and you don't know what this meeting was about?
No, I have no idea. You have to ask somebody that was in there.
So you just happened to be here?
Yeah.
And you have no idea what anyone is talking about?
I have no idea.
My source also telling me that this was a meeting of those who opposed Jonathan Evans, and that's why the mayor specifically was not invited here tonight.
Police officers in Riviera Beach have no confidence in their leader. Union members took a vote, and it wasn't even close.
And in this news release, they point to reporting done by News Channel 5's Wanda Moore on the controversy over the firing of the city manager and the police chief's possible role in that. Wanda continues her reporting live at Riviera Beach City Hall. Wanda.
Police officers here made it clear they have no confidence in Riviera Beach Police Chief Clarence Williams. They went as far as to demand that he be fired immediately. So this afternoon, I asked 2 of the 3 city council members who started this whole chain of events. Terrence Davis, seen here this afternoon, is the councilman who, along with 2 others, suddenly and unexpectedly fired City Manager Jonathan Evans 2 weeks ago. 2 nights ago, he made a motion to have Police Chief Clarence Williams replace Evans.
Make a motion to make Chief Clarence Williams a city manager.
Oh, come on.
Late today, I tried to talk with Davis about the fallout from those 2 events, including the fact that Riviera Beach police officers no longer have confidence in Williams as their leader.
I haven't given you permission to record me, man.
No, I'm on public property here.
No, I haven't given you permission to record me.
I'm just wondering if there's...
I'm not giving you permission. Have a wonderful day. You're welcome in Riviera Beach. You're welcome on public property. But I haven't given you permission to record me, and have a wonderful day.
Any reaction to the police chief?
Chief Williams is set to retire at the end of the year, but the president of PBA says he needs to leave now.
He intimidates everyone. And if you're not his little buddy, you don't get anywhere.
PBA President John Kazanjian says morale at the Riviera Beach Police Department is at an all-time low. The vote of no confidence was astounding, 67-3, and Kazanjian isn't pulling any punches.
He's behind it all because he wants to be the manager, all right? He wants Alex Freeman to be the chief. They're doing these backroom deals, and guess what? It's done. It's over.
Freeman was upset with Evans because he said he was promised an interview for the position.
Did you get that camera out of my face?
But Evans decided he wasn't qualified for the position. And Freeman stood right behind the chief as Williams went after his own officers at a news conference carried live on News Channel 5.
Officers that endanger the life of babies.
And just last week, a police report was filed accusing Freeman of making verbal threats by leaving this voicemail.
Well, if you continue to text me, you're going to see a side of me that you're not prepared for. And I guarantee that.
Is there a man with the power to instill fear throughout a city government?
A man with the influence to force the firing of a city manager and get himself nominated to replace him.
For weeks, police officers in Riviera Beach have told News Channel 5 off the record their answer to those questions is absolutely yes.
Tonight, 3 officers go on the record. Here with her continuing WPTV investigation are Wanda Moore. Wanda?
Michael and Kelly, the 3 officers made it clear Police Chief Clarence Williams does have that kind of power and control.
I fear physical retaliation from the chief and his little minions. I mean, there's no telling what they'll do in order to retaliate.
Physical
Retaliation, yes.
Strong feelings echoed by 3 Riviera Beach police officers. WPTV News Channel 5 agreed to hide their identities, even alter their voices so that they would share their stories.
People are demoralized. The officers are scared.
Scared of this man, they claim, Riviera Beach Police Chief Clarence Williams.
He's by far the most powerful man in that city. Who holds him accountable? Absolutely nobody.
But these officers tell me that changed when council hired Jonathan Evans to be its city manager in March.
Jonathan Evans was on the way to holding him accountable for what he's been doing for several years. And once he saw that he was going to be held accountable, they got rid of him for no reason.
The officers believe the chief orchestrated Evans' firing after only 6 months on the job.
His fingerprints are all up on this entire corruption and this whole coup that's going on.
They point to a secret meeting at Hearst Chapel 8 days after council fired Evans. A secret meeting a WPTV investigation exposed. I confronted Chief Williams as he walked out.
I just arrived. So,
oh, you just arrived? Because we saw you get in earlier, so I was just wondering.
Yeah, I've come and gone, and you couldn't have seen me.
The chief later confessed to being at that meeting.
Anything that you saw me doing since that September 29th date was simply to keep people safe.
Multiple sources confirm the agenda was to talk about how to make sure Evans never got his job back, despite the public outcry over his firing. That lie by the chief, the officers told me, gave them the courage to take the no confidence vote, something they say they wanted to do for years.
The vote of no confidence gave a lot of people hope, because they said, okay, we got the courage to come together. We became strong. We became united.
That lie convinced a huge majority of officers the chief wanted the city manager's job for himself.
My feeling was the same as all the other officers that I've talked to, that he's a liar. When put under pressure, he won't do the right thing.
And that lie, the officers claim, made it clear to them that Williams would always have them under his thumb.
It was very important because the fact that the officer saw that he wasn't just going to retire and go away. His ultimate plan was to become the city manager. It can't happen. Everybody's afraid of it. Everybody.
They say when the chief held his news conference, his words, but more so the chants of his inner circle, fueled that fear.
Ride or die. Ride or die. Go ahead. Ride or die.
I absolutely took that threat home, to say the least. I've spoken to my family and have warned them. It was threatening. There's no other way to look at it.
Now the officers say they need the people they protect and serve to help them.
Recognize that this chief of police is a huge part of this. I call it a conspiracy because that's what it is. And we need their support. But we'll always be there for them. Always.
A bombshell decision we broke today about the newly hired interim city manager for Riviera Beach.
James Pogue withdrew from the position after Wanda Moore uncovered information about Pogue's background that city council members had not discovered themselves.
These developments come more than a month after we began our investigation into the firing of the original city manager.
Wanda Moore live outside City Hall, where she tried to talk to council members today about this breaking development. Wanda.
In an email, Pogue said that he will not accept the position after a report that we aired here last night in which we said that Pogue was arrested in 2005 for domestic battery. During Wednesday night's meeting, Councilmember Lynn Hubbard motioned suddenly to hire James Pogue as interim city manager.
Let's put this person in place.
Most council members had never met Pogue.
I figured we would have a number of people to select from and a process in which we would discuss, interview the person, find out what they look like, and then we would make a decision.
But that's not what happened. Instead, the 3 city council members who fired Jonathan Evans a month ago without any reason hired Pogue on the spot. No interview, no background check. On Thursday, we reported that Pogue had been arrested in 2005 for domestic battery. According to the arrest report, Pogue's then-wife said he placed one hand on her throat, and when she tried to defend herself, Pogue pushed her to the ground. Also, according to the report, as Pogue was put in the back of the police car, he told officers, quote, "I want all the officers' names and badge numbers who were at my house. Do you know who I am? I guarantee that all of you will pay for this." The arresting officer said in his report that he felt Pogue was using his occupation within Broward County to take revenge on the officers. The charges were later dropped. After our report aired, Pogue emailed city staff informing them he will not accept the position. In the email, he said, quote, "During the media's investigation, aspects of my past personal life were also reported. I deeply regret my past actions and have worked tirelessly to correct them. My personal life has no bearing on my competency or career." We also learned that Pogue was fired from his position in Wellington as the Director of Community Services last year for violating employee standards of conduct and the village's purchasing policies. Today, I tried to ask Councilwoman Lynn Hubbard, who had motioned to hire Pogue, about her reaction to his decision to withdraw from the position.
I don't want to hear a thing you have to say. You are a racist pig.
Excuse me, what did you just call me?
A racist pig.
As she was leaving, she made an obscene gesture. Pardo said she does not regret her vote to hire Pogue.
I can tell you there are some people in this room who have been convicted or accused of things much more, well, much worse than what this gentleman was arrested for.
Let's bring us back.
No, I'm sorry, ma'am. If you want to discuss it, it's going to be discussed. It needs to be, it's all or nothing.
A WPTV investigation showed taxpayers spent $51,000 on Johnson's salary while he was sitting at home on paid administrative leave. Former city manager Jonathan Evans had asked for 2 investigations pertaining to Johnson, one into theft allegations in the Streets Division. City officials won't say what the other investigation was about. Sources say Evans was about to fire Johnson on September 22nd, but then Evans himself was fired suddenly and without explanation on September 20th. Since July, nothing had happened regarding Johnson, who continued to accumulate sick and vacation time in addition to his paycheck. But that's now over. Johnson is no longer an employee with the city.